What's up, family? It's your boy, Minister Jamin here. Once again, we are back with another episode of Cross Perspectives, where faith meets real, relevant conversations. No filter, no fluff, just honest dialogue. Obviously, I'm not alone. I'm here with
Minister Naomi.
Minister Naomi.
I hate. Do you do? What is your? Do you use your title?
Nathaniel.
Naomi. Thank you.
Well,
Oh well, now we done ruined it. Now we gotta introduce the guest now over again. Go ahead.
well, he's already introduced, but you already know we got a special guest today, none other than Nathaniel.
Nathaniel. Yep.
Nathaniel, he is the founder of This Generation Connect, CEO, founder, pastor of the Connect Center, Connect Community.
All right.
Let's get it correct.
All right.
Connect Community, Connected Community. I jacked all this stuff up. But it's all good because
You cool?
we gonna start over.
No, we not editing nothing. It's the last episode. You gonna get all that in. All them
Oh
fumbles.
man. What's up, Nathaniel? Glad to have you here.
What's up, y'all? It's a delight to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
We are excited. We see all the stuff that you're doing, and I want to dive into it. Tell the people about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Nathaniel Carter. I am from the Mon Valley area, born and raised on that side. So the Mon Valley is really my heartbeat, the space of interest for me. So Woodland Hills graduate all 12 years. Then I went to Waynesburg University there for sociology and psychology with a minor in biblical studies. And then after which I attended PTS for a church planning and revitalization certificate. And I'm currently at PTS now pursuing my Master's of Divinity.
I told you that's how they get you. Scam. That certificate is a scam.
Well, I mean, for me, I was the first cohort.
I was about to say because I never seen that one.
Yeah,
I would have did that one.
My group was the first cohort, and so
what year was that?
That had to be back in like 2015, 2017, somewhere around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because then it's like the certificate is like 4 classes, and you're like, I want more.
Absolutely.
Scam. I told Dr. Lee that too. That's a scam.
Yeah, I mean, it was because I mean but for that particular class, or certificate program, I really enjoyed it because it was not the typical context.
Yes.
I do believe that they have restructured it and it's called something different now. But we traveled for all 4 of our classes. So we went to San Francisco. We were in.
Is this Dr. Hagley?
Yeah, it was with Dr. Hagley at the time. It was Dr. Karen Rohr was there at the time. And so we actually traveled. We went to 4 different states.
What?
And we kind of did our work there because it was around essentially missional community.
Yeah.
And church planning and revitalization. So what does it look like to either church plant and or revitalize a church?
Oh,
and so
wow.
it was great.
Sounds like
I've been trying to take that class for 3 years, and I'm like, Dr. Hagley.
He's one of the his classes are one of the I really enjoy Dr. Hagley and the way that he think, and he has a strong interest in missional ministry.
He does.
Like ministry as a mission opposed to church as a institution.
Yes. So for the people that don't know, can you kind of explain what church planting is?
Yeah. So church planting is simply when, I don't want to say simply, but it is when you literally develop a ministry or a church from the ground up. And so I've been a part of 2 church plants, actually. This is my second church plant that I am a part of. And the first one was a church plant with a pastor from Philadelphia.
Okay.
And we were leading a ministry right in Rankin. Rankin, Swissvale area.
Okay.
And that was back in 2015. It was called Master Builders.
Okay.
They had a Master Builders Philly, a Master Builders. There was like two other locations,
Okay.
and the pastor had a good following here,
Mm-hmm.
and so there were a few of us that were supposed to come together to lead this ministry.
Mm-hmm.
However, it didn't kind of fizzle out that way. So for about 2 years, I actually led it solo.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of gave me a great insight as to what church planting actually was. But I enjoyed it because I had the capacity with the team that was created and developed to really do missional work. It was
Okay.
centered around, and it's very similar to the structure where we are today.
Okay.
I mean, from that building, the beautiful thing about it was the building was in the church building that I grew up in.
Oh.
So we actually used the building that I grew up in for 22 years.
Okay.
And so it was a storefront church. And so we revitalized the building. I mean, when I say everything in the building, we did.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a beautiful element to kind of be a part of. And then to begin to plant in that particular place.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that was like the framework for what you're doing now.
correct. Yeah,
Yes.
it
So
definitely gave me a great framework for the work that I currently do.
okay, so let's talk about what you're doing now. That's
Okay.
exciting.
Yeah.
So when did you open up?
So, 2019, we purchased a bar. It was a previous bar in East Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah, it was a
Oh.
previous bar.
Okay.
It was called Rocky's Bar.
Okay.
And it's about 4,400 square feet, upstairs, downstairs. What I loved so much about it was the fact that when I went to view it for the first time, it's a large space. The only space that was open was the bar area.
Wow.
And there were people still in there being served, people still in there drinking, still
Yes.
doing their thing. And that was literally the only space that was open. It was very dark, very like just unfinished. It was a disaster, honestly. So we walked in. Primarily, I was looking at spaces in North Braddock. That's where I was raised.
Okay.
And then I was looking at spaces in Braddock. There was a space down there that they were going to allow me to build out. However, I am very into ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Is this the new development that they were talking?
yeah,
Okay.
there was
Yeah.
a development that was
Mhm.
going on down there at the time. And now it's like state senate offices
Yeah.
and things of that
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah.
So they were going to build it out, but it was going to be like,
You got some constraints.
Yeah, some
Mhm.
constraints
Mhm.
into it. So the realtor that I was working with, she found this and she took me to the space and was like, I think this is it. And I was just like, this bar. And I walked in, and honestly, what really gave me life was the people still at the bar. It was the fact that if they can still be there in the condition of this space, I
Mhm.
just began to envision how we would be able to use this space for the glory of God.
Yeah.
And so it was a tall order, but God literally provided favor in it. And so that was literally 2019 when we purchased the building. We took about a year to rehab the space.
Okay.
I mean, from the top to the bottom, new roof. I mean, everything. I worked with a phenomenal design team that helped bring my vision to life. And so I sat with them, literally tearing up spaces. The downstairs, which a lot of people didn't know, and I tell them this. which is our main space that we use, had not been used for over 25 years when we purchased the space.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, and they actually used it, I guess, over 25 years ago. It was like a bingo hall, and it was still wood panels
Oh,
and
wow.
everything.
yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
tore
yeah.
everything out of there, reconfigured the space and turned it into an open space. That's
Nice.
our main space that we use now for like our bigger things. That's where we actually have worship, but it's a multi-purpose space.
Okay.
Everything has happened down there. People have got married down there. People have,
Oh.
they use it for other engagements. It helps us to, have some income coming in
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
multi-faceted space. And so the upstairs, again, redid the upstairs. We recently opened up the wall upstairs and added 2 garage doors to the side.
Okay.
And we have a newer project that is actually starting next month, which I'm super excited about. We're actually starting a garden right in the courtyard.
Yes.
And so we have, so that's
Is
kind
this a
of,
community garden?
it's going to be a
Okay.
community garden. Yep. So we were blessed and fortunate to build a partnership with an organization called Grow Pittsburgh here.
Yes.
And we had to write, write a grant for it, and we were the recipients last year for it. And so it actually starts. We have already kind of started some of the process, but breaking ground actually starts May 16th. And so we're super excited for that.
That's exciting.
So your connection to the community, how involved are you in the community?
Yeah, we're heavily involved into the community. We actually started ministry based upon our engagement with community.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is so we opened in at the end of 2019. We had a grand
Okay.
opening.
Mhm.
We had the senators, the state rep was there, all of them, the county council, and it was a beautiful event. I mean, it was really beautiful. We had people from the seminary that was there. I included, some of them a part of the building dedication that we did. Brought a few different denominations together. Had some of my Baptist colleagues, some of my Presbyterian colleagues, my Pentecost. I like kind of bringing them all together.
Yeah.
And so it was just such a beautiful experience. And then right after we opened in September, we opened September 7th, actually 2 days before my birthday, September 7th. And then we had what we're really known for in our community. We have a community holiday party in December.
Okay.
And in December, we have a holiday party where we actually do what we call bill pay for the community members of the Mon Valley. We're specific for the Mon Valley because there's a lot of resources that the city has that are not,
Yeah.
afforded to Mon Valley. And so for the first few years, that community holiday party was like how the community got to know us.
Okay.
And so we would have the Bill Henry Band come out, feed them a free meal, Toys for Tots, and then the big thing was our bill pay.
Okay.
So we would either pay their choice, either the water, gas, or electric.
Okay.
Depending on how much money we raised, up to about $150 of that bill. For many of them, that was their whole bill. It had to be the December bill. We wasn't doing past due bills.
Listen.
Not the past
Make it
due
plain.
bills. Yeah, they calling us like, did y'all pay? No. Did you pay? And so that has kind of been a staple for us. Right after that, COVID hit. Right after that, COVID hit. And so we had started with our teen engagement. And I will never forget it because we literally just had what we were calling Teen Talk. Very similar to this setup where we were doing podcasting and they were coming. We had the teens like engaging, leading it. Had this big meal. I'll never forget it. The next day, that's when they shut everything down. It was like the next day they shut everything down. We had all this food left over from the thing. It was crazy. And so like they're shutting everything down. And so then I'll use the word that was the common word for that time. We had to pivot,
Mm-hmm.
which was a great pivot for us because we had a lot of space. We had people who were, because the space was so new, the community was heavily engaged, and they're still heavily engaged. Everything that we do in the space is literally volunteer led.
Mm.
And so there's not any full time staffing that we have.
Oh, wow.
And so we're really blessed and fortunate to do that. But in that, there were people who were providing their time, providing their energy, people who love to cook. So that's when we got into action where during the pandemic, we started doing community meals each week. So
Oh.
we were serving free meals each week. And then we began to host the community boxes. So I don't know if you guys remember, but like churches and organizations were getting food
Yeah,
boxes to
Yeah.
be able to
boxes.
give.
Mm-hmm.
So they were literally using our facility because we had a lot of space outside
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
actually bring those boxes, and churches were actually coming to us to pick up their boxes.
Oh wow.
Mm.
And so again, we're new in the game,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's
was
actually
healthy.
creating for us a community oriented identity.
Yeah.
And so for the next 2 years or so, we're doing nothing but community work. We didn't start Bible study. We're not doing anything but community engaging. And this was intentional.
Oh, I
Um,
like
That
that.
is
yeah, it
good.
was
That's
really, really
nice.
intentional.
Yes.
How do you think having that initial focus on community kind of help with the overall impact and the sustainability of what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I think it has had a major impact and it continues to have a major impact. And the reason why is because we were attempting to show the community that we are here for community,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
right? And many times, and how I look at ministry, I believe that you don't have ministry without community
Yeah.
because
Yes.
you don't have anyone to do ministry with or
No.
for.
Right.
No.
I think the unfortunate dynamic for church planters or churches in general is that we don't consider the community that we are going into. We actually are looking for a
Yes.
building, and
Yes.
wherever the building is, that we can afford perhaps, or
Mm-hmm.
that is available to us, we go into that space, and we want that space or that community to conform to what we do,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
opposed to us having an opposite perspective of that, of saying, what does the community need?
Yeah.
And let's build ministry around how the community functions.
Yes.
So that is the reason why after um, so we still have a community meal that we still do.
Mm-hmm.
Every third Saturday, we have a community meal, which is very well attended. The last one that we had about 75 to 80 people from the community that was present. We still do a meal distribution every fourth Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
People still come out. We're with our partnerships with the food bank and a few other people that we are connected to that provides us resource, and we're still building those connections and those resources. And so people know us from that, our teen engagement. We've had teen night. We continue to have our teen engagement, which is always, attended. And then we do other community engaging
Mm-hmm.
activities. So we champion the people that are there that have ideas and concepts. Hey, what is it that you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll help you kind of see that thing through, see how that is connected into ministry. And then from there, I think maybe 3 years in, we started Bible study.
Mm.
And that was it. We started Bible study for a whole year. And then we began to kind of build the team, begin to build the people, letting them know this is what we're here, while at the same time still doing community
Doing
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, so while many people will start with church, like we started with
With
community,
community.
and allowing the people from the community to understand that all that we're doing, it points back to Christ. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if we're serving you doing the food, distribution, if it's doing the community meal, doing the holiday party, doing the teen night, no matter what it is that we have going on. We actually have today starting, which is a phenomenal partnership that we have with the University of Pittsburgh. Today we're starting a violent prevention program
Oh,
for
so
East
needed.
Pittsburgh.
So
And so
needed.
all of the residents that will come and be a part of that forum for the next 9 months, they'll be compensated,
Mm.
right? And so really figuring out how do we leverage the resources of community
Mm-hmm.
to actually help us to do ministry.
Okay.
And so that's kind of why I would say we have had levels of success of being able to infuse both church and community together.
Mm-hmm.
We're wanting them to realize that they're to us it's all the same,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? It's like you can't have one without the other. And no, we may not be the church. Our Sunday worship services are actually Sundays at 5,
Mm-hmm.
and that transpired because that's what the community wanted.
Really?
Yeah, and so it's not like I would prefer to have it
Ah,
early. It's like
listen.
I
Yeah.
prefer to be done,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. But I mean, there may be some revisiting that in the future.
Yeah.
But right now, like that's what it's been. So for the last
Seeing the
3
need.
years,
Uh-huh.
we've had service at 5 o'clock. We don't have the largest crowds, but we have our consistent people
Yeah.
that come, and we're thankful for that. But when we talk about community, they're there.
Yeah.
And people who are a part of the community endeavors, they may not come to worship, but they are part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the goal for the leadership is how do we infuse what we're doing into community into ministry?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like you have your hand in a lot of the strategies that you're trying to implement for the teens specifically. I know that that is a pain point for a lot of communities and them not having anything to do. What is your response?
Mm.
What is your community's response to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not that they don't have anything to do. I think one of the deterrents is the consistency.
Mm.
I think we throw a lot of teen events, but there's not that consistent engagement. So
Yeah.
that's something that we're currently working on as well, where we've just recently written some grants and so on and so forth, for us to literally have more of a engagement with the teens.
Yeah.
There's some ideas that I have that I want to literally implement,
Okay.
and yeah, I've been thinking through them for a little for some time.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm so ambitious that I have to kind of like slow down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I believe that they would be very impactful for the teens.
Yes.
And I just need to make sure that it makes sense to make that investment and that sacrifice.
Mhm.
But teens really need spaces, and
Oh
I think we
gosh.
have to
Yeah.
create specific spaces for them. And
Mhm.
if that means we have to take things that they enjoy and then begin to kind of reshape those spaces for them.
Yeah.
For an example, they like video games.
Oh yes.
So why not create a space with video games that, okay, you have to do this for a certain amount of time, and then you have access to video games, right? You
Mhm.
can do
Yeah.
some reading, do some learning, doing some education or some academic work. And then let's talk about God within the midst of that,
Mhm.
right? Let's
Mhm.
engage in these ways. I mean, I think we have to be forward thinkers as it relates to how we engage, not with just teens, but even young adults.
Young adults.
Yeah.
We have to be innovative, and it's not about, well, we're doing all of these things. Well, the world is doing all of these things to
Yeah.
attract them,
Yeah.
right? The world is very innovative. They are using their gifts, their talents, their innovations in the world, and so why not create spaces for them to actually be able to use those things to actually build up the kingdom and build up the community?
They're craving it. You
craving
can
space.
see, even at the draft, downtown in Market Square, they're literally bringing their own speakers to dance. And I told my kids, I said, we about to date ourselves, so I don't care, Jamin. But when we had teen clubs, we didn't have to worry about whether we were coming out or not. And that's a sad thing. And I grieve for my teens because they have that fear of, if I decide to go somewhere, am I going to be safe? And yes, we endured all of that, but at the same time, we still knew how to have fun. And in this day and age, fun and violence are intertwined, and it's like they have to make a choice, and it's like a life or death choice, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
And I just wish that we can find a response that will allow them to rewrite all of this and teach them a better way. And we got to get to the nitty gritty of what is it that is causing this. And because you work with teens, what is the heart of this anger, this violence that they just can't seem to go nowhere without cutting up?
Yeah. I think so. That's where the sociologist in me kind of pops
Yes.
up, right? I think there are tides to a lot of different scenarios. And I think sometimes we try to have a cookie cutter answer and response to people and situations and to say all teens. And yes, we can use factors as the single moms and the absent fathers and, the incomes that parents are now working 2 to 3 jobs. That wasn't the same when we were kind of growing up. They were grinding, but the prices and things of the economic kind of structure is not the same, and therefore there's a less time and attention given to your children and all of these just different nuances that really play as an important factor. But I also want to highlight the fact that the church also was a safe space. The church was a haven for most spaces. And the church has unfortunately lost its credibility
Yes.
in the Black community specifically
Yes.
for various reasons. And that doesn't mean that it is the only responsibility of the Black church. But I believe that there is a large responsibility.
Yes.
A lot of people have gone away from their faith in God. And you have people grew up our age who dabbled in learning or looking into other religions and considering, if you will. And for me, I say this all the time. I am a faith-filled believer, but I know some people may not like this statement, but I say whoever makes you a better person, then you hang out with them.
Right.
Like that's just my perspective.
Right.
Everybody may not, but I know who I'll take Jesus for mine. Right? Like I'll take
Yeah.
Jesus for me. But if there is something else that is going to make you a better, effective citizen into the world, then hang out there. And I believe that if you hang out with us long enough, then you'll begin to kind of see. And I think that's the fear of people's faith.
Yes.
Because that's really the culture that Jesus created. When he hung out with people, they begin to change and they begin to shape. But I don't think we as believers and as Christians, we have enough faith in our own faith to believe that people can change, that people will change, right? And so there was power.
Because you can feel it when the kids come in, the pearls clutch. Like, oh, here
and
they
so
come.
even in that, it's these are small things, but they're big. When the scripture tells us that we have authority, sometimes we see the lack of authority that we have by just dealing with teens.
Yes.
If you don't have the ability or the wisdom or the wherewithal to be able to calm them down, right? So how then can you calm down your own emotions and your own feelings, and when anxiety begins to kind of flare up within yourself?
Right.
And so sometimes there's a telltale by the outward expression of
Mhm.
what we as Christians lack on the inside.
On the inside.
Mhm.
Right? And so I think they can be an outward expression of what God is really wanting to do and using them in a context of today for us to really see where we lack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they are the generation of not even just next, but now,
Now.
right? We understand that there are demonic presence and demonic forces
So many.
that they are also tending with. Because
Mhm.
some of us tend with some of those demonic forces and still are tending
Still.
with those demonic forces.
Absolutely.
And so therefore it is, where do we put our time and our energy and our focus?
Mhm.
Our focus can't be a Sunday morning worship service,
Mm-mm.
right?
Right.
I feel like a Sunday morning worship service, in my opinion, while it is needed, it is necessary, it is important to the believers to be filled up on Sunday, but I use this terminology that Sunday worship for us as believers is a gas station.
Mm.
We actually should be filled up on Sunday. This is why church is necessary, not because you got to pay your tithes and make sure that all of these
Yeah.
things. It's necessary so that you come to the gas station
You
with
get
other
what you need.
believers, that
Yeah.
you are filled, because all week long, because you are
Yeah.
called to specific spaces, places, people,
Yeah.
you are
Mhm.
emptying out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But many of us aren't doing that. We just come and we congregate and not realizing that man, y'all
Trying
gonna
to
get me
siphon the
preaching on here.
gas.
That's
Y'all gonna give me y'all gonna
Yeah.
get me stirred up
Trying
in
to
here.
siphon the gas.
But some of us
Come
are called to teens,
Mhm.
and we have to step away from the pulpit and deal
Yeah.
with the teens.
Come on.
Everyone can't have a microphone, and you might,
Everyone doesn't
and that
need
might be
one.
a season that you have. And I'm not saying you can't do both ands, but there are times where we have to understand what God is calling us to in these seasons. And right now, the teens are at
They
a
need it.
deficit.
They need it.
They need
Mhm.
it. And it gets to a point where we got to understand, we got to start being intentional with how we're doing things, with how we're meeting them, with how we're leading them, with how we're opening ourselves to them.
Yeah.
Because part of the issue is also that we're not willing to be transparent back. And we're not willing to, be honest and be humble and say, hey, I may not be dealing with what you're dealing with, but I've dealt with some things.
Mhm.
And so it's not just me, you know, talking down or turning up my nose to what you're doing, but it's now, okay, I can actually instill wisdom and walk with you through this and meet you at your level and say, hey, no judgment. And it's like, look, we can start here. This is how we can meet those needs. And when it comes back to being intentional about really seeing what their needs are instead of trying to import what you want them to have.
Hmm.
And that's where it comes back to, you can have all these types of events and you can have all these different things, but if that's not something that's actually needed.
Mhm.
I was listening and reading. I read an article. It was a little while ago, and they were talking about the most influential people according to young adults and teens.
Mhm.
And there were no like spiritual leaders. It was a
Mm.
lot of like influencers and people, like artists and things of that nature.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
And
about that.
it's an interesting dynamic because a lot of times they can't relate.
No.
Mm.
And the church has become a place where people can't relate.
No.
And I think that is one of the fears. And what we're not to do is not to become of the world, but there are ways for us to be able to understand where they are and be able to literally use the principles of our faith.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that is the guiding tool. I was meeting with a group of pastors just yesterday. We actually started a prayer call this morning for pastors in the Mon Valley area, because we're seeking as to how it is that we are going to tackle the Mon Valley area, right?
Yeah.
Like so, and I was sharing with them that even with all of the innovation, we still have to have the principle and the foundation of prayer. Everything starts, in my opinion, with prayer. That's the foundation. And so even our children, so let's even like move them out of the way and kind of come to like the young adults and even like the older. There are a lot of people who do not have a posture of prayer.
Mm-mm.
Like if we said we're going to have a prayer meeting, it's less likely that you're going to have a group of young adults, and even sometimes even older saints, because people's attention cannot handle praying for an hour, for half an hour and a half, right? But fundamentally, for me, growing up, that was the time. Like those were important elements. I remember, man, growing up, and every Wednesday was it Wednesday? Wednesday for us was prayer night. So every single Wednesday, we're at the church for at least 2 hours just praying. Right? Now I ain't going. I'm not recommending that.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not recommending it. But what I am saying, what I have. I'm not recommending that it needs to be at the church. I am recommending that we should have a life filled with prayer. That's what I'm saying. And that our churches should be able to understand the principle of prayer and understanding that there are spiritual principles that are necessary. They are biblically illiterate. A lot of us are biblically illiterate, right? There are things that we are saying. Preachers, I was sharing this with the pastors. I said, you'll be surprised. And they were like, really?
Yes.
I said, you would be surprised how many pastors and preachers don't know the Lord's Prayer. Yeah. I'm glad y'all. You would be surprised.
You'd be surprised.
You would be surprised, and that's why when we're all saying it together, everybody start getting low. Yeah, and you'll be surprised. But there are but you ask the teens to quote one of these songs from one of these artists, and they out there with authority, like yeah, and we over here like our Father. We think it's what art in heaven. We think it's hallowed be thy name. Like it's that, and so there is this authority, this a power that we really have to assert in the ministry lens in the work that we do. So dealing with teens or just dealing in general, we just really have to be positioned so that we are representing the kingdom with authority.
Yes. And I think having the ability to be patient about meeting them where they are, because I know my kids are closed off and it's going to take a minute. But with older people, with the older people, they are not as patient and like just I told you, just real like quick, short tempered, and that turns them off. And I see the ability that, meeting people where they are is a great concept to have, but not having the patience is going to be the problem and the disconnect. And I feel like, especially in the Mon Valley area, my kids go to Penn Hills, just that specific area.
Yeah.
They need things to do. They need Christian things to do.
There has to be an investment.
And it has to be an investment.
There has to be. And I think churches, I will say it is a challenge. And I think this is where, I'm going to start getting in trouble with this stuff now.
Well, talk about it.
I think this is where churches, ministries really have to do the hard work to say that this is really about the kingdom and not about their ego. So I think that there really has to be a lot of churches, in my opinion, that comes together.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that, there's a particular area that they have literally, and there's quite a few areas like this, but in the Mont Valley, there are one particular area that I'm thinking of in my head right now. I won't name the area, but literally in walking distance, there are 3 to 4 active churches
Mm.
in the same, literally walking distance, right? And so in this particular area in my mind, I'm thinking, and there's other churches that are in that area as well, but just not in that walking distance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm thinking if these churches just came together,
Mm.
all of the resources that they would
Yes.
have to be able to make an impact in that one community, right? But now you have all of these people, 3 to 4 different buildings that you are having to care for,
Mm-hmm.
right? You
That
can
they
turn
barely could care
that you
for.
can barely
Mm.
care for, and you're wondering why it is that do not have a presence. One of those churches, and again, this is just how my mind works.
Oh,
One of
absolutely.
those churches can be turned into a youth center. One of those church, and now you're getting grant funding, and now you're seeking,
Yes.
and it's all under the same umbrella, right? One of them can be a senior center, right, where the seniors go, right, and you have all of these different. One of them can be a young adult center, right? Where you're very intentional about those individuals that you are engaged with. But I think somewhat our ego tells us that we are not to connect to other people. I say this all the time, and I say this with all honest truth. Yes, I'm leading in ministry, but if God would ever tell me, "Hey, this you need to bring your people and you need to connect to this ministry, or you need to go serve at this particular place," and
Mm-hmm.
I'm open to do that because ministry is not about me. It's about really being a part of something that is thriving for the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very intentional, and I have a and the thing that I talk about all the time, I can't see myself being a part of a ministry that does not have the community at heart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really like community oriented when it comes to ministry. We have to consider the community in which we are serving. There's a quote to say that if you close down today and and the people in that community doesn't know that you are closed, then you haven't made impact.
Mm.
That's
And so
real.
many of our churches can go away and people
Nobody
wouldn't
even
miss
know.
a beat.
I'll even add an extra layer because you had mentioned importance of ownership. So you're letting these contractors come into our community and they're getting access to land. They're getting access to the buildings. The money is filtering to them, and they're lending out spaces, but then they could take that back at any time. But if you are making a commitment to get the power back,
Hmm.
all of the churches probably own their own spaces. So that is more power that you're bringing to the table whenever you're talking about um, ownership, and you have more influence in the community by coming together and saying like, "Hey, this coalition right here, we have
We
X, Y, and
have
Z."
this exactly, and that's but it to his point, it comes back to it's an ego issue because at the end of the day, just to say it, most of these churches, if it's not their idea or if they're not the ones that's going to have their face or their names on there and they're in control of it, they don't want to be a part.
Hmm.
And it's not going to be until someone else might have the idea, might do something. We're like, oh yeah, we can support her do this. But again, you got these like you got contracted people outside the community coming in with their own intentions to just make money and just get what they can out of these people. And you got people that actually care about the community that should be taking up this land and these buildings and actually
You don't
building
learn
these
how to
and
play
making an
Monopoly.
impact and actually meeting the needs of that community.
So let me raise this as a thought of thinking. Why is it that contractors can come in,
Mm.
purchase a church, turn it into a brewery. Purchase a church, turn them into apartments. Purchase a church, turn them into a winery, right?
Mhm.
And we have all of these people who are able to come in and literally take what we're supposed to be using, right? And they're able to flip it. And that's one of the greatest joys that I have with the building, the fact that it was a bar
Bar.
and now we're
Mhm.
using it for
You
kingdom.
reverse.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
play Uno
And
on
so
flipped in reverse.
I think that really thinking through that, there's a church in the Mon Valley that they purchased some time ago, turned it into a winery, and now they're selling it for attempting to sell it. It's been sitting, attempting to sell it for over $1 million,
See?
right? And so again, just really thinking of the this idea that churches really have to come to a place of innovation. And I will say this, and this, man, I would say that we are behind, in my opinion.
Of course.
Pittsburgh is behind.
30 years.
Yeah, we're behind. You go to other you go to other cities, they are innovative in their approaches, and we are trying to tap out of tradition and religiosity into the current time. But it's a really difficult time because of the leaders, the leadership. And again, I believe that we should be able to be in a space where leaders are accepting the innovative young people. He says, I call the young because they're strong, but I call the old because they're wise. And the problem is the fact that we don't have a bridge, right? So you have people who are strong-willed over here, right? But you have wisdom over here, but we're not getting anything done.
No.
Right? And
No.
so I think there has to be the level of, and here's another thought. This is where a lot of church planting is coming in because people aren't wanting to wait, right?
They don't want to deal with that.
We don't
The
want to
old
wait
stuff too.
until we don't want to wait, and we're in a generation now, and even it's getting worse. As my dad would say, it's getting worser.
Yes.
It's getting worse because for us, this is just my perspective. The generation that we grew up in, we seen a strong work ethic, right? Like, I mean, we overwork to a point where it's somewhat not healthy. The generation underneath us, they don't have a work ethic at all.
They don't even know what
They like, oh, if I don't like it, I'm not staying. If this ain't benefiting, if this ain't what I want, like we would before we quit a job, we would make sure we had another job. They go to the job and be like, oh, I ain't staying here, and just walk away. And then they'll try to figure it out. And so I say that because a lot of our churches are desolate because we don't, number one, because of the falling away, right? And the lack of faith, the lack of trust, and the courage in leaders. And we've played a part. I would say I played a part in it as well. We haven't always been good Christians, right? We haven't always been great examples of what it means to follow Christ and to do it his way. But then also recognizing that those resources have been dwindling, right? We don't have the same resources. And so more particularly in the Black church, we're trying to do the same thing that our Episcopal brothers and sisters are doing. They got diaries. Like their churches are paid for every month, every year, because they got diaries and they're like, they don't have to raise the money. So that's why when you see in other churches, other persuasions, that's why we got 2-3 offerings, and that offering is a turn off for people because they're like, I can barely get bus money, and you want me to raise $6 to $7, but we have to have people of wisdom in certain spaces to help us create an ecosystem. Here's the last thing that I'll say in reference to this is the fact that there are. I was reading something a while ago as well in reference to banks. Churches deposit over, Black churches specifically deposit over, they say every Sunday, over $3 billion into the bank.
What?
right? Black churches around the world, right? Over $3 billion are deposited,
Think about that.
right? I'll find the article and send it to you
My
all,
God.
right?
Yeah.
But here comes the question: why don't we have any black banks or any Christian banks, right? To literally be able to fund what it is as believers,
Mm.
right? Like that's a
Yeah.
kingdom asset. I wish I had
Yeah.
the resource,
Yeah,
right? To
seriously.
be able to lead that charge. And now we're talking
Mm.
about loans and things that we're able to pay for less income and less rates and less interest,
Mm.
because we are invested in the fact that we are literally depositing money into a bank every Sunday.
Yeah.
There's money going into a bank.
It's just the old
And
way of thinking. Like, I
it's
mean, we still got a building fund.
Mm, no
yeah.
doorknob. Building fund, no doorknob.
Like,
Exactly.
we got a building fund.
It's crazy. And Dr. Welts actually mentioned this before on the podcast, that if you think about it, if let's say the Mon Valley, let's say, y'all church in that area, what y'all bring in from your offering, take a each church takes a percentage of that and puts it into a joint account. And that joint account gets used to either as a resource fund to meet the needs of, something that you're handling collectively in the Mon Valley, or let's say one of the churches has a need for something, then
Mhm.
you have that fund as that emergency to dive in, like innovative things like that, where you can actually collectively come together and tap into the resources that you can have collectively,
Mhm.
and be able to make an impact.
Yeah. I'll say this. We're not going it's almost like one of the most I've never been married before, but I've hear one of the ways that people know that they're really all in is when they join those accounts, that money, right? Like when that
Yeah.
money come together,
Yeah,
Mhm.
because
yeah.
that's like it's a big deal,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
So one of the things when we talk about unity of the church, until we start talking about the money problem,
Mm.
until like we could worship together all the time, like we can come and sing and worship, but when I love that concept, right? Because but then again, that's laying down ego, because
Mhm.
now my church is bringing in more than yours, and da da da
Mm.
da, and so I should be able to do
To
X,
do
Y,
more.
and so I
Yeah.
think again, it's really redefining what systems look like.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think of the scripture, man. I think of the Bible context, right? And I do understand the need of difference, of having multiple contexts
Mhm.
to a great extent. But when I read the scripture and when I look at the churches, the church of Ephesus, the church of Philippians, the church of, meaning
Mhm.
that there's from my understanding, only one
Only one
church
church.
Yeah.
in this one area.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Whereas we have
Every block.
across the street from each other, and some of them, and here's the other element to it. I can see if they were different denominations.
They the
They
same.
the same.
Most of them are the same.
They the
You got
same.
4 Baptist churches or 4 Pentecostal churches or and it's
Woo.
like,
For
Lord Jesus,
what? For
right? So
what?
how then do we speak to the spirit of unity, right? When we're disconnected? Martin Luther
Mm.
King says the most he says it this way. He says how does he put it? Basically what he is saying, the time that the most we are most disconnected or not in unity is Sunday when we're all in worship.
I believe it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not paraphrasing it right, but
I get
No,
what you're
but he's
saying though.
saying because of
All the
all of
segregation of
yes,
the
all of the
segregation,
segregation,
denomination,
yes,
denominations of the
and we're
yeah.
talking about the unity of the faith and the unity of Christ, and having debates and debacles over theological contexts and constructs where our communities we're burying people every day.
Mm.
We're teens who are wanting to be loved, adults who are wanting to be loved. we're seeing mental health at a large, rapid pace. What is the
Oh,
church
what
doing
is the
about it?
response?
How are we engaging these people? And here it is. We may not be the ones to actually have the response, but we should be the ones that are connecting them,
To
knowing
the
the
mission.
nonprofits or knowing the entities and knowing serving as the advocate for
Mm-hmm.
them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we really just have some work to do.
I
Yeah.
I think God is moving on his platform because it's been said
Multiple
3
times.
times.
We have work to
Multiple
do.
times. We do
3
got work to
times.
do.
So, yeah, it sounds like we need to be rolling up our sleeves.
We all need to be.
We all need
We
to
Absolutely.
be
all need
rolling
to
up our
be.
Having hard
sleeves.
conversations with leaders.
Mm,
Even and sometimes they don't like that because we're coming in
mm,
as the underdogs and they're like, who are you all?
We
mm.
just little
Um,
people.
and yeah, like they're like, who are you all? But here is the reality that we're in a generation where the three of us may be able to capture the younger people quicker than they can. And so their wisdom is so important to be able to help us to engage them in that way.
Absolutely.
But our strength and our innovative prowess is really important to say, y'all, like we gotta go after these teens. We have to go after the young adults. There's a lot of churches that don't have the teens and the young
No,
adults.
they
They're
don't.
absent,
They don't.
Mm.
right? But you go to the draft that we just had, and all of them out there. You go to the
Oh,
Jeezy
so many.
concert,
They
So
enjoy
are.
many.
yourself. Like I don't have no problem. Go enjoy yourself. But I also want them to know that there is a premise in your faith that is so necessary that
Yes.
when all of this entertainment dials down, you need something in your heart and your spirit that literally allows you to be at peace,
Sustain you.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You need
Sustain you.
something that is going to
You
sustain
need
you,
a
not
mind regulator.
oh, come on. Talk about him. He's a mind regulator.
Yes,
Well,
yes. But
Yeah. And
yeah,
so,
because that's the part that they're missing. And I think we're so busy spewing out
throwing
all the
everything
do's and
out.
don'ts that we're missing the mark of how we can get through and by,
yeah.
So good talk.
Yes, that's good.
So now we're wrapping up our season with a challenge, not only to us, but to the church community at large. What is our response to everything this entire season that we have learned? What is the community of Pittsburgh and even at large, even if you're not even in Pittsburgh?
Vincent.
What is the response to today's modern context
Mm.
of the teens, the mental health, and all of the challenges that people are facing? Are we going to focus more on our egos and growing our churches, or are we going to focus on our communities at large?
Well said.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Well
good.
said.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Well
Well,
said.
we'll see what happens.
Guess we'll see what happens.
We'll see what
Look, we
happens.
want to thank you for
Yes,
coming
thank you for
and
coming.
being
Thank you
a
for having
part.
me.
Look, let us know anything that's happening with the Generation Connect. What's on the horizon? You can
Yeah, so
share.
we have as I mentioned, we have the garden that is well actually today
Okay.
starts the violence prevention. So
Mm.
for the East Pittsburgh residents, if they come, we want them to kind of pile in there, and we have resources for them
Mm.
for participating, a free meal, and then each week that they participate, they get a gift card. And so that means their whole family. So if it's you, your children, all of y'all get gift cards. And so again, that's a way to help them participate. We're tapping into May, so that means like the start of a new month. So we have our community meal, which is the third Saturday of each month. That same day is going to be the start of our community garden.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're super excited to see what that looks like. We're renovating this outside courtyard that is right next to us. I'm listen, I'm a visionary and
Mm-hmm.
I don't see all of it, I'm be honest. But what I love so much about this project is the fact that because of all of the visioning that I do, like I was able to walk them alongside and
Mm-hmm.
allow them to see. And that's what I'm super excited about, for them to see this empty space and then for them to, once it begins to kind of come together, for them to see it as a community, be like, wow, like this is really
Yeah.
crazy.
Okay.
We have our summer camp. We've been doing a summer camp for the last 3 years, last 4 years actually, and so the teens love it, and
What's
so
the age range?
13 to, and above.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, we will take a few younger if necessary, if they're able to engage. And that's also a paid summer program as
Okay.
well. So they get compensated because we're connected to the University of Pittsburgh as well, and some other partners that help make that possible for them, learn and earn as well.
Okay.
So there's just a few things that we're just connected. I'm connecting there. So we have some stuff going on.
Okay.
You all are more than welcome to be a part
Definitely
of it.
going to be there.
You talked about some music.
The vibe.
The
We're bringing
vibe.
the vibe to.
I told them,
Yes,
bring
to
the
the North Valley.
vibe.
We're
We got
gonna
the
bring the vibe.
vibe worship
Yeah.
experience. We're gonna partner this
Yeah.
summer.
Yes. So
Let's do
look
some
out for
vibing
that.
out.
Look
Like
out
let's
for
do some
that.
Let's
vibing
look out
out.
for that in
That's-
July.
in July.
So we'll have
Yeah.
more details
We'll
about
have
that.
more details about that. The connected community
Mm-hmm.
first.
Drop the address.
Yeah, address will be dropped. Bottom right, bottom left. Website, bottom left, bottom right. Check us out. Connected community,
Yeah.
right? First, second, third Sundays.
Yes.
5:00.
5:00.
5:00.
What's the address?
827 Linden Avenue, East Pittsburgh, PA, 15112.
112.
There
All
it
right.
is. All right. Well,
Thank you.
after my church nap,
Oh yes.
we have to pay a visit.
Yes. Absolutely.
After the church nap.
We'll have to pay
And
a
that
visit.
church nap, man. You don't want to
Look.
get up after the church nap. You
No,
be
no,
stuck.
no.
We'll make it happen.
All right.
And we
Yeah.
won't come in clergy attire.
No, we
don't
will
come.
not.
Don't
No,
come
please
in
don't.
clergy
Please,
attire.
God, no.
Don't you come in clergy
All
attire.
right. All right.
All right, this has been another episode of Cross Perspectives. We out. Peace.
Bye.